But so my friend Davey got me this, and oh my god, look, I attached this watch he gave me to it. And it's got Stitch on it. Setting the time on that was impossible, but I did do it. I think it's set for, like, it's PM when it's supposed to be AM, but I don't know why that would matter. And anyway, it's currently full of flowers, but it also has, a lunch bag and a little pencil thing and this keychain. Anyway, I just wanted to show that off. This is going to be my craft bag. It's also like the bag that I take in the car with me, so I attached my little Tinkerbell hat to that. Okay, so I guess I should say, welcome to episode 2 of Crafting, Conspiracies, and Crazy. We're going to get a little bit of all of that this time. First of all, let's check in on the crafting. This idea is coming together, I think. So I had these little jars already. They're actually glasses, but they had straws and stuff, and I lost all those at one point. But okay. See the little piece of styrofoam in there? And then I think what I'm going to do, this tissue paper is actually reused. My daughter just graduated and she got like a present, and this tissue paper was in there, and it's not my favorite colors, but it was the right price. So these ones, I used a lot of flowers on these, and I just realized that probably wasn't necessary, and plus these are about twice as big as I want them to be, because I rethought this a little bit, and I'm not going to have it sticking up out of the coffee cup. I'm just going to have it stuck down in it. So I'm going to start by taking all these back out of here. Anyway, I was looking for something that I felt like I was interested to research so I could tell you guys about it while I was doing this. And I found something. I actually found a few things that I thought were kind of cool, but it was mostly stuff I've heard before. But then I found one that really tickled my brain and I couldn't let it go. And it turned out to be, I made it more complicated than I probably needed to. Okay. What did I think eventually I'd figure out a good system for this. Okay, that seems about right. Not so sure about that one. Anyway, so we had always kind of believed that the Amazon rainforest has always been uninhabited, or that it's uninhabitable, like that people can't live there because it's such rough terrain. And it turns out that that may not be true. They did some scans. It's called LiDAR, I think. I did take some notes because I was super unimpressed with myself with the last episode where I kept saying things like, whatever, and I think I'm going to get better, guys. I promise. A lot of it is stage fright, believe it or not. I know I run my mouth for you all the time, but when it actually comes to, like, being a little more serious and trying to put information out there, I don't feel super confident about things. And as you can tell, I can't walk and chew gum, so this is a challenge for me. Anyway, so they did these LiDAR scans, which is just like radar, I think, except for they use lasers. And they found evidence of, like, cities and irrigation and all that good stuff. Like, so it wasn't as uninhabited as we apparently thought that it was. My notes. So, Francisco de Orellana. It's some kind of Spanish conquistador, right? This is in 1541 to 1542. He was the first European to navigate the full Amazon River. All right? Now, basically, when he went through there, what he said was he saw giant cities, lots of people. When Orellana went back home, he told everybody that he had seen not just, like, little pockets and tribes of peoples, but he saw big, massive cities, and that they were advanced, and that it wasn't all backward like they thought it was, and it wasn't all empty like they thought it was. And everybody there was like, We don't want to hear that. That doesn't fit our narrative. You're lying. Okay, well, unfortunately for him, a few decades later, I'm not exactly sure how long, but it was a little bit, but not super long. They went back there and there wasn't anybody anymore. It was just a few pockets of tribes and exactly what they pretty much expected. Not nothing. Not nobody, not no how. So, what happened? And then I start thinking, man, I'm getting some deja vu here. This story sounds so familiar. So I have to do a little bit of reading so that I can explain something. The theory that caught my attention was that the Amazon rainforest may have been cultivated. This is about that. So, it's called agroforestry, I think is how you say that. And it means growing food within a forest instead of clearing it. And this would be sort of unique to what we kind of expect to see from developing civilization. But they found terra preta there. So it's the type of dirt. It means dark earth, which is rich human-made soil, which means they're intentionally managing and fertilizing the ground. Like, so they probably were, at least there was stuff already there and they took care of it and cultivated it, or they intentionally planted it all like an orchard. I can't say that that's true. All I can say is that that is the theory that caught my attention that led me down this series of rabbit holes. And so then where were we? Oh yeah, we're back in the Amazon. The second time round, they come back and everybody's gone. Well, so it always kind of looked like the original guy that found him the first time was either exaggerating or that he had lied in order to get attention so that more people would want to go back to South America. Okay, so when I said I had that deja vu feeling from this story, what I was thinking about was the Aztec collapse. And so that happened in 1519. And it said that Spanish conquistador lands in Veracruz, Mexico. His name is Hernan Cortez. I have no idea if I'm saying any of it right. I'm obviously reading it. They were looking for El Dorado, right? Anyway. So, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, the Spanish conquered the hell out of the Aztecs, but the ground was softened quite a bit by disease. And that's the part that kind of stuck out for me with this story. In the Aztec story and in the Amazonian story, it would appear, after they made the first contact, they were exposed to European diseases they'd never been exposed to before and wiped out their entire civilization. And I remember that from the Aztec story. But for some reason, when I heard it this time, I was like, why did that happen? Because when when that guy came through there, he said that there was all these people living together. Well, I mean, I thought what I had always heard was that the reason why Europeans were immune to the diseases because they lived in these big cities and like the diseases sprung up and then they became, they got them and they became immune to them. Well, so I started looking into that a little bit. It turns out that's not true. Okay, I guess we get disease from domesticating animals. I just really didn't know that. And, I guess, yeah, you hear like what, swine flu and chicken pox and all that, but color me ignorant. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck. Because here's the question that I had. How come they didn't give the Europeans any disease? It's not like they were living in these tiny little isolated tribes, because if they were, then because of smallpox that took them out. Smallpox spreads through giant populations. And so why didn't the Amazonians or the Aztecs or the Mayans or even some of the Native American tribes, why didn't they pass any plagues on to the Europeans? Because I was thinking about that. And I even saw YouTube videos called, like, why is there no America pox? I thought that was kind of cute. They call it America pox. But Why wasn't it? Well, it's because we domesticated more animals, I guess. And so then I was like, so why is that? And the reason is just because there were more animals to domesticate in Europe, I guess. Now, this is where it starts getting into all the rabbit trails. I didn't want to make 2 animal videos in a row because I didn't want to like start a theme for myself. But remember when I was talking about the zebras, I kept trying to come up with the 6 reasons that they domesticate animals. Like they have a hierarchy, they're easy to feed, they're easy to breed, they're nice, basically. I don't remember the other 2. That was better than I got the last time. Anyway, I didn't want to go into that whole thing this time. But at the end of the day, the diseases or the plagues, because there's illnesses. You get something like a cold, like that virus isn't trying to kill you. It's just trying to make you sick. You know, like we're just trying to live off of you. It's like, it's the same reason why, why you're not going to burn your own house down. It's because that's where it lives. It doesn't want you to die. It just wants to, get you sick enough that it can continue to be sustained off of you, basically. But with these diseases that came from the animals, like smallpox, I believe, came from cows. It thinks it's in a cow. So what it's doing to you would do to a cow, and the cow would just be like, achoo, but it's going to kill you. But the difference between like an illness, you can get the same cold every year, but with a plague, you get it once, and then if you live through it, you'll never get it again. Anyway, all that to say this. I wonder if there were more reasons that they didn't domesticate as many animals in the Americas. Like, they had a few. Like, okay, yes, I could see why buffalo would be difficult to try to tame. But what about deer? I mean, wouldn't you give it a shot? And no, they don't meet all the qualifications. But I was wondering if there's maybe, like, has more to do with their, like, the way that they lived sort of sustainably or like with nature or like in harmony with it or whatever. But then I got thinking about that a little bit. It's like, okay, so we dominated the animals and we lived with them and we developed diseases from them, which we became immune to, and then we brought them over here and then we like, yeah, I mean, we were going to conquer those people anyway, but we did most of the work by accident, just from bringing over illnesses. And also, I guess one of the conquistadors, a bunch of pigs got loose, and that caused a bunch of hate and discontent. But then there's also something to be said about biological warfare. Like, did they do it on purpose? We do know that they spread blankets with smallpox on it to at least one Native American tribe. I don't have all the details of that in front of me, but it happened. And it's been done before. Like, I forget. I'm going to screw this one up, but I'm pretty sure they were catapulting dead bodies into London at one point or something like that. But, like, it wouldn't be the first time somebody intentionally softened the ground with an illness. I came up with this thing. Some tissue paper around the bottom. I think I'm going to add more flowers to this one, probably. I don't know. These ones are pretty, but they're kind of difficult to fit into anything. I still haven't put the tissue paper on the glass ones yet, but I'll probably save that for later. And so, in conclusion with what we were talking about originally, was there a civilization that lived in the Amazon? It sounds like it, yeah. I mean, we always knew that. They said that there was, but then they were wiped out by disease before they could be like fully written down in time and history. And then did they plant the Amazon rainforest? I don't know, but that's a cool theory, And it's funny to me that the big difference between, so we had the Black Death over here, and that happened from like living in big cities with rats that had fleas. And then also we lived with other animals and caused plagues to happen. And then all these indigenous people that are living over in the Americas are just minding their own business, just growing these like big populations and living in harmony with nature. And we just come over there with our aggressive ways and just accidentally decimate an entire population more than one time. Like, we have such a conquering nature, we can't help but do it accidentally. And it just cracks me up. Anyway, that's it. Okay, I just got fact checked a little bit. I shouldn't be saying we. We didn't do shit. I don't even know. I don't know if I'm European. I definitely didn't conquer anybody. That's it.